Look at what her husband bought her. You're embarrassing. She yelled at me in front of her friends. I said nothing. Set down the gift I'd brought, walked out, and blocked her number from the parking lot. She called 30 times that night. I never answered. Hey viewers, before we move on to the video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you want to see more stories like this. Thanks. I never thought I'd be posting here, but after everything that's happened, I need to get this off my chest. Maybe it'll help someone else spot the red flags sooner than I did. This is about how my ex, Emily, humiliated me in front of everyone, and how I walked away without a word. Looking back, the signs were there from the start, but I was too committed to see them clearly. Let me start from the beginning. We met 3 years ago at a mutual friend's barbecue. I was 28, working as an engineer at a mid-sized firm. Nothing flashy, but steady pay, good benefits, and room to grow. Emily was 26, a marketing assistant at a startup, full of energy and big dreams about climbing the corporate ladder. She had this infectious laugh and a way of making you feel like the center of her world, at least at first. I fell hard. Within months, we were exclusive, and I threw myself into the relationship. I wasn't perfect, but I was loyal. I planned surprise dates, helped her with her resume when she was job hunting, even covered a few of her bills when her paycheck was late. Student loans? I chipped in on those too, because I believed in us as a team. But early on, the comparisons started creeping in. Subtle at first, like little jabs disguised as jokes. We'd be out with her friends, and she'd say something like, "Oh, Alex is great, but he's so practical. Remember my ex, Tom? He once surprised me with tickets to Paris on a whim." Everyone would laugh, and I'd brush it off, telling myself it was just reminiscing. Internally, though, it stung. I'd sacrificed spontaneity for stability, turning down a riskier job offer last year because it involved too much travel, and I didn't want to be away from her. Flashback to one night. We were cuddled on the couch watching a movie, and she scrolled through social media, showing me posts of her friends' vacations. Look at Sarah and her husband. They're in Bali again. Must be nice to have a guy who can afford that. I suggested we save up for a trip, but she rolled her eyes. With your salary? We'd be lucky to hit a beach town nearby. I laughed it off then, but it planted a seed of doubt. Was I not enough? As time went on, the mistreatment ramped up. Emily got a promotion about a year in, and suddenly her world expanded. She started hanging out more with her coworkers, including this guy Jake, a sales rep who drove a fancy car and always had stories about closing big deals. She'd come home late from team happy hours and casually drop how Jake had treated the group to drinks or how he was so ambitious, unlike some people. I confronted her once, gently, saying it made me feel undervalued. Her response? "You're being insecure, Alex. It's just work stuff. If you want me to stop talking about successful people, maybe step up your game." That hurt, but I internalized it. Maybe she was right. I started working overtime, picking up side gigs to save for nicer things, a better apartment, maybe a ring down the line. All the while, she posted cryptic stuff online, like memes about upgrading your life or stories tagging Jake in group photos with captions like "surrounded by winners." I felt like a backup plan, always there for the emotional support, but never the excitement she craved. There were nights I'd wait up for her, only to hear excuses about traffic or deadlines. I'd cook dinner, and she'd pick at it while texting, barely engaging. One particularly rough evening, after I'd spent the day helping her move stuff into storage, her idea, to declutter our space, she snapped at me over something trivial. "Why can't you be more like Jake? He just bought his girlfriend a new watch for no reason." I paused, confused. "Who's his girlfriend?" She backtracked, saying it was just office gossip. But the damage was done. I started noticing the late-night phone glow, the secretive smiles. Still, I stayed loyal, convincing myself it was a phase. I didn't snoop or accuse. I trusted her. Big mistake. The breaking point came at her friend Lisa's birthday party, about 6 months ago. I'd put thought into the gift for Lisa, a custom photo album I'd made, compiling old pictures from their college days, with handwritten notes. It wasn't expensive, but it was personal. Emily had been distant all week, canceling our plans twice for work emergencies. I showed up at the party anyway, hoping to reconnect. The apartment was packed, her friends, a few coworkers, music blaring. Emily was already tipsy, laughing loudly in a circle with Lisa and others. I handed Lisa the album, and she loved it, hugging me and saying it was thoughtful. That's when Emily spotted it. She snatched the album from Lisa's hands, flipping through it with a sneer. This? You brought this cheap thing? Look at what Lisa's husband got her, a diamond necklace. She pointed dramatically to the sparkling chain around Lisa's neck, her voice rising over the chatter. Everyone went quiet, staring. You're embarrassing, Alex. Do you even try? Jake would never show up with something so lame. He's taking me out tomorrow. Actual fun, not this budget crap. The room froze. I felt my face heat up, but I didn't react. Her words hung there, cruel and unfiltered. She wasn't just comparing, she was dismantling me publicly. Emily, what are you saying? I asked quietly, trying to keep my voice steady. She rolled her eyes, crossing her arms. Oh, come on. You've been holding me back for months with your safe little life. Jake gets it. He's exciting, successful. We're done, Alex. I deserve better than this. She gestured at me dismissively, like I was yesterday's trash. Her friends shifted uncomfortably. One even murmured, that's harsh. But she doubled down, smug as ever. What? It's true. You've been a nice placeholder, but I'm upgrading. Go home and think about why you're so boring. Her logic twisted everything. In her mind, my loyalty was smothering, my stability dull. She justified it all as self-improvement, like cheating emotionally, and probably physically, was just her growing. I stood there, the album still in her hand, feeling the weight of every sacrifice I'd made. No outburst came. No begging. I simply set the gift down on the table, nodded once, and turned toward the door. Okay, was all I said, my voice calm. As I walked out, I heard her laugh nervously, like she'd won something. In the parking lot, I pulled out my phone, blocked her number, and drove away. My hands shook on the wheel, but I didn't look back. That night, my phone lit up, 30 missed calls from unknown numbers, voicemails piling up. I didn't answer a single one. The confusion hit hard in the days after. Why had I stayed so long? The unfairness gnawed at me. I'd given everything, only to be discarded like that. But I chose silence, letting the betrayal sink in before deciding my next move. The days after that party were a blur of silence and self-reflection. I didn't lash out, didn't post cryptic updates online or vent to mutual friends. Instead, I detached completely. I crashed at a buddy's place for a week, then found a short-term rental in a quiet part of the city. Nothing fancy, just a studio where I could think without her stuff cluttering my space. I boxed up her things from our old apartment and left them with the landlord, along with a note saying she could pick them up whenever. No drama, no accusations. I changed my locks, updated my address with work, and focused on me. Sitting with the betrayal wasn't easy. The confusion gnawed at me. How had I missed the signs? Flashback to a few months earlier. I'd skipped a work conference to help her prepare for a big presentation, staying up late rehearsing lines with her. She aced it, got praise from her boss, and that night, instead of celebrating with me, she went out with the team, including Jake. I waited up with takeout, only for her to stumble in at 2 a.m., brushing off my concern with, "Relax, it's networking. You wouldn't understand." The unfairness hit hardest in those quiet moments alone. I'd been the one holding things together, paying most of the rent so she could chase her dreams, listening to her vent about work stress. And for what? To be publicly shredded like that? I let the pain breathe, journaling a bit, hitting the gym to burn off the anger. No rebounds, no revenge plots, just rebuilding. Work became my anchor. I threw myself into projects I'd sidelined for her, and it paid off. A promotion came through within a month with a decent raise. I started hiking on weekends, something she'd always called boring outdoor stuff. Turns out, it cleared my head. I reconnected with old friends who drifted because Emily dominated our social calendar. One of them, Mike, said it best over beers. "Dude, she treated you like a safety net." Good riddance. I didn't badmouth her. I just nodded. The silence was my dignity. She tried reaching out through every channel. Emails, social media DMs from burner accounts, even showing up at my old gym once, but I wasn't there. I blocked them all, one by one. It wasn't about punishment. It was about protecting my peace. Karma didn't take long to show up, and when it did, it hit her like a freight train. From what I pieced together later, through mutual friends who couldn't resist spilling the tea, Jake wasn't the knight in shining armor she'd painted. Turns out, he was married, with a wife back in another state, and Emily was just his side fling for the thrill. He'd been feeding her lines about leaving his marriage, spoiling her with company card dinners and promises of a lavish life. But it all unraveled when his wife found out. There was a blow-up. Screenshots leaked to their office Slack, apparently, showing Jake's texts to Emily overlapping with ones to other women. The startup had a zero-tolerance policy for that kind of drama, especially since it involved expense fraud. Jake got fired first, then ghosted Emily overnight, blocking her and vanishing. She tried confronting him at his place, only to find movers packing up. Turns out, he was deep in debt from his flashy lifestyle, gambling habits eating away at his big deals. Emily spiraled from there. Without Jake's support, her spending caught up, credit card bills from the clothes and trips she'd bragged about online. She lost her job amid the scandal. HR cited disruptive personal conduct or something vague like that. Friends started distancing themselves. Lisa, whose party it all went down at, texted me an apology weeks later. "We saw the real her after you left. Sorry we didn't speak up sooner." Mutual acquaintances stopped inviting Emily places. Her social media went dark after a flurry of vague posts about toxic people that backfired when someone leaked the affair details. She ended up moving back in with her parents temporarily, broke and isolated. The woman who'd called me embarrassing was now the one everyone whispered about. It wasn't satisfying in a vengeful way, just ironic, like the universe balancing the scales. I didn't gloat. I barely thought about it as I kept moving forward. Her attempts to crawl back started small, but escalated quickly, like she couldn't fathom I'd actually moved on. That first night after the party, as I mentioned, she blew up my phone. 30 calls from withheld numbers, voicemails ranging from slurred apologies to demands for me to pick up and talk like an adult. I deleted them without listening fully, but one slipped through before I blocked the latest burner. "Alex, come on, I was just venting. You know how I get when I've had a few. Let's forget it and go back to normal." Normal? As if humiliating me was our baseline. I didn't respond. By the next week, texts came via friends' phones. Hers must have been blocked everywhere. Mutual acquaintances I'd barely spoken to in months suddenly messaged, "Hey, Emily's worried. Call her." I ignored those too. Then her family got involved, and that's when it turned toxic. Her mom called from her landline, leaving a voicemail that dripped with unpleasant judgment. "Alex, this is ridiculous. Emily told me what happened. You overreacted to a little joke. She's a good girl. You should be grateful she stuck around as long as she did with your limitations. Call her back, or don't come crying when she's gone for good." Her sister texted similarly, all caps and aggressive. "You are being a jerk ignoring her. She made one mistake. Grow up." It revealed the apple didn't fall far from the tree. Entitled, dismissive, quick to blame anyone but themselves. I blocked them all, one by one, without a reply. It wasn't worth the energy. As weeks turned to months, her desperation ramped up. She showed up at my old apartment, pounding on the door until the neighbors complained. Luckily, I'd already moved. The landlord texted me a heads up. "Your ex was here, looked rough. Said it's urgent." Urgent for what? I didn't bite. Then came the emails to my work address. How she got it, I'll never know. The first was apologetic. "Alex, I'm sorry for what I said at the party. I was stressed, and Jake was just a friend pushing me to speak up. Can we meet? I miss us." By the third, hypocrisy shone through. "You think you're better now? Ignoring me like this is cruel. I gave you stability when no one else would." Gave me stability? I'd been the one footing the bills. Her twisted logic flipped everything. Suddenly, I was the villain for not begging her back. After karma hit and her life unraveled, job gone, Jake exposed, friends bailing, she got frantic. A month after her firing, she ambushed me at a coffee shop near my office, eyes puffy, clothes rumpled like she hadn't slept. "Alex, please," she started, voice cracking as she slid into the seat across from me uninvited. "Everything's falling apart." Jake was a liar. He used me, drained my savings on dates that were just him dodging his wife. I'm crashing with my parents, applying everywhere, but no one's calling back. I know I messed up, but we were good together. Remember how I supported you through that rough patch at work? Supported? She'd complained the whole time about my moping. I sipped my coffee, expression neutral. "Emily, this isn't the place." She pressed on, desperate now. Come on, let's start over. I'll change. I see now you were the real deal. Stable, reliable. I need that. Her friends had tagged along this time, hovering awkwardly by the door. One chimed in unpleasantly. Yeah, dude, give her a break. Everyone screws up. You're acting like a saint. The other added, she's been crying nonstop. Be a man and forgive. I stood to leave, but she grabbed my arm. Don't walk away again. How can you be so cold? I thought you loved me. That's when the anger surfaced, her true colors bleeding through the pleas. Fine. Ignore me like I'm nothing. You'll regret this when I'm back on my feet. You're just jealous Jake had more to offer. Jealous? Of a fraud? I pulled away calmly, paid my bill, and left without a word. Blocked the new number she texted from later that night. A rant calling me heartless and pathetic. Her attempts peaked there. Progressively unhinged emails, a failed attempt to friend me on a fake social profile. But I stayed detached, letting her flail while I built my life higher. The final nail came at our mutual friend Mike's wedding, for months after the party. I debated skipping it, but Mike insisted, come man, show her you're thriving. I went, dressed sharp with my new promotion in my pocket and a date on my arm. Sarah, someone I'd met hiking, kind and grounded, no comparisons or drama. The venue was elegant, string lights over a garden reception, everyone toasting new beginnings. Emily was there, invited before everything blew up, looking out of place. Hair unkempt, dress ill-fitting like she'd lost weight from stress. She spotted me across the dance floor, eyes widening as Sarah laughed at something I said. She cornered me during a lull, pulling me aside near the bar. Alex, we need to talk. Please. Her voice was a mix of desperation and forced composure. I've hit rock bottom. Parents kicking me out soon. No job prospects. Jake ruined everything. But I realize now, you were my rock. Let's try again. I'll make it up to you. Sarah hovered nearby, but Emily ignored her, pleading, block everyone else, but not me. We had something real. I looked at her steadily, feeling nothing but faint pity that evaporated quick. No sympathy. No, that's awful. She'd become irrelevant, a chapter closed. Emily, I said firmly, voice even, that something real ended the night you chose to humiliate me. I've moved on. New job, new place, new people who value what I bring without tearing it down. I glanced at Sarah, who smiled supportively. You're not part of this anymore. It's over. Her face twisted, anger flashing again. You think you're upgraded now? With her? You'll see. She's probably just using you too. Hypocrisy at its finest, echoing her own justifications. I didn't engage, just turned away. Goodbye, Emily. As I walked back to Sarah, joining the dance, I heard her mutter something bitter to a friend, but it didn't faze me. Mike pulled me aside later. She left early, in tears. Friends are done defending her. That night, as Sarah and I drove home, I felt free, emotionally evolved, her desperation a distant echo. She's powerless now, beneath the life I've built. If you're reading this, Emily, know this, I'm not thinking about you anymore. And to anyone else in a similar spot, walk away with dignity. The reversal is worth it. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. What do you think about this story? Share it in the comments.